Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now December 29th of 2024, and given that the entirety of the film industry, the media, just Hollywood in general, is now falling apart, it is in shambles basically ever since November the 5th, and even before that it started to crumble because they saw what was all coming. They knew that the public, the vast majority of the general public was beginning to speak their mind. They were beginning to wake up to all the nonsense that was being spewed by Hollywood, whether it was about DEI, or about ESG, or anything to do with their take on how there are so many toxic males, quote-unquote, in this country. But what's interesting about this has a lot more to do with Alec Baldwin. Now, we discussed this about almost a week ago, ever since he was actually fired by Apple Studios from a specific project that he was supposed to star in, by the way, ironically, with George Clooney. That is all, of course, no longer happening and no longer moving forward for him. What's interesting here, though, has a lot to do with Alec Baldwin's behavior in recent days. Now, we know that Baldwin continues to call the American people uneducated and misinformed and this and that all the time, over and over, and he's at it yet again. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So Alec Baldwin, look, I think that he gives the worst takes out there when it comes to his view of, the reaction toward celebrities, toward actors, toward actresses. He gets it all wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He just basically throws out words, right? He doesn't really put things together in a fitted argument to be actually, in a very simplistic way of saying it. But what's interesting about this, yet again, is that we have Alec Baldwin going in a downward spiral. Now, with many actors and celebrities in general within Hollywood now facing major backlash and losing roles after the public pushback was of such a large scale, one monumental development going on now involves Alec Baldwin's behavior toward the public after he was fired from Apple Studios, like I said before, from a major movie role that is also set to star George Clooney. And now Alec delivered the following, as a way to cope, of course, with the recent outcome. I think what's wrong with this country, he says right now, is that we have too many young Americans labeling those in show business as the bad guys, and the ones starting the drama when really, if you do your research and follow everything closely, it's those uneducated Americans that are the cause of the drama. I think we need to stop automatically claiming that actors like myself are a part of the problem, because that's simply coming from a very dark place, a very uneducated place from young folks that view this business as toxic. It's costing many actors roles, and believe me, I have dealt with a similar situation that I am unwilling to go into specifics because I just don't think the time is right. I have made this openly available to everyone before, but I support feminism. I am a proud male feminist that supports women, and it seems that we are dealing with a growing trend of young demographics out there that rejects female roles in the industry that provides so many opportunities to a wonderful life. I am also seeing a lot of these same uninformed Americans putting such a stigma on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how that stigma is now causing so many industries and corporations to drop their DEI departments, and to me, that is just a sickening reaction to the loud Americans that have no idea what they are talking about, that is now costing so many actors jobs and different opportunities in this business. So guys, let me say one thing about Alec Baldwin before I move on. He's really trying to play the victim card as if, they never did anything wrong, that actors/actresses, producers, writers, directors, I can go on and on, they have never done anything wrong, alright? Now, look, we know that 90% of them pushed an agenda. They really tried to change the way that society looks at everything, how they deal with everything in the entertainment field, whether it's movies, video games, music, everywhere. They wanted to shoehorn DEI into all of that, and if it weren't for what happened on November the 5th with the election outcome, believe me, they would be doubling down everywhere, tripling down on DEI. There's no question about it. Don't even think twice that they would not do that. They definitely would have. So, what's interesting about this is that we know that Alec Baldwin is obviously acting very bitter, even more so than normal, and I think a lot of this is radiating off of the fact that he was let go from Apple Studios from that new mystery project that he was supposed to star in with George Clooney. the same exact studio that created Wolves with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. They were going to do something similar to that, a spiritual successor to Wolves, not a sequel, by the way, not a spin-off, but a spiritual successor to the film that was going to star Clooney and Baldwin. Clooney did not want Baldwin in the film, and that's really what started the whole drama that got him kicked out and fired from that. But it also had a lot to do with Baldwin's overall lawsuit, how unlikable he has become to many people out there that have differing opinions about the whole lawsuit outcome and the whole thing with the trial. But moving on, he goes on to conclude, we need to realize that actions speak volumes, and those that have toxic opinions should be silenced and not heard if they don't hold any valid points, to which I have heard no valid points. So I think all of these nonsense takes coming from one side of the country just needs to go silent already. It needs to be stopped. I don't know how we do that, but it needs to be done someday. We have to realize that working in this business is a very fragile walkway, and I think when you look at DEI, it gave so many promises to both old and young talents out there. It's the uneducated Americans that are taking away roles from many actors in the film industry, and it's even impacting other forms of media like music. It's disgusting behavior to me, and perhaps I am biased because I witnessed this myself, but it's a necessary bias that I think needs to be displayed right now to all of those out there that have followed my work throughout the decades. We need to figure out a way to silence these false narratives that are also opposed to feminism and DEI in the industry. Actors need to stop being labeled as ones that are pushing a so-called narrative or agenda. So here we go again. Alec Baldwin saying, I'm a proud male feminist. Everyone's opposed to this and that. It's just a big blame game again. It's no different than what he did like two and a half weeks ago, you guys may recall, where he really came out with Sharon Stone saying that Americans were uneducated and misinformed or uninformed, whatever have you, really just, throwing all these insults toward them to the point where you're only destroying your image more so than it was, right? We know that his image was already wrecked to begin with, especially after all the rants that he's gone on before in the past. And look, his whole trial/lawsuit, that didn't help either. Again, you all have differing opinions on Alec Baldwin after that. I get it, and that's fine and all, and that's welcome below in the comments. But look, here we have Alec Baldwin, alright, in isolation, focusing on his behavior after what Apple Studios did. He's acting more bitter than usual, and I think that you're going to begin to see more examples of this coming from different actors, coming from different actresses. I mean, heck, we've seen this already. We've seen this with George Clooney, Robert De Niro, even Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, the talk show host of Jimmy Kimmel Live. He's really been going off lately. We'll talk more about that maybe next week. But what's interesting about this, yet again, is that Alec Baldwin, alright, we know that he is saying that, oh, there's all these false narratives floating around out there. He's saying that anyone that has an opinion, anyone that is against the actors and actresses pushing an agenda, pushing DEI, that they need to be silenced. What does that sound like to you guys? They're trying to control the narrative themselves. That's what it's all about, and basically he's not making his point well, because he's really just, acting like a hypocrite there. He's the one that says that one side has a narrative that's being pushed, that they want to silence the actors and actresses' opinions. Well, then here he goes again, saying the same exact thing in the other direction. So, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.